Oh yeah, we'll see you after this one. It won't be too long before we get the Charmer back in here. In the meantime, we're not going to be seeing the Charmer himself in Rakan. That's going to be the first ban away. Tribe, very aware of what
Mhm.
Immortals has been enjoying running and aware of what Charm has also been taking and doing very well with.
They got to get rid of a bunch of champions, though, for both of these teams. I think Gragas is going to be a really interesting set of priorities here for Tribe, just because Chuck has played a ton of it, so has Max Green. So a lot of flexibility in that position. And I want to see already Immortals seeming to focus a lot on the Dragon lane. Old School and Max Green found a lot of success with this Varus and Senna lane. So what else are they going to try to get rid of? Are they going to get rid of another marksman? Or potentially try to throw something into the jungle, because we still have Camille here. We still have Olaf available for T-Tigers, and we already saw what Yikes can do on that. I'm excited to see what that brings for us.
Yeah, you've got the Ziggs, a Darius. That was a very, very quick lock-in right there. So Immortals
Okay.
saying, all right, we're going to take away a Baron laner from you guys, a strong one at that. A lot of influence that, I mean, for Chuck at least. Chuck is certainly, you're going to put him on a carry champion. You know that he's going to do absolutely well. And so good idea taking that one out. But like you said, Gragas still up and available right now. Xin Zhao, I was actually going to consider for Immortals. I was wondering if that was going to be their final ban because of the high priority that has been for Xin Zhao in general, especially on Tribe right now.
Xin Zhao has looked really good, and obviously letting T-Tigers on this champion is going to be a show for everybody. If any of the jungle mains, I know Rafa's probably watching. Please take notes. I need it for solo queue so we can get to Diamond already. We already made that promise. Yeah, I want to see some Xin Zhao, because this is just such an aggressive champion, and I wonder what spin we'll see from Tribe, because from Immortals, they've already taken away the Gragas, they've already taken away the Nami here, so this is most likely just going to be a Baron lane Gragas. What is their answer? Are they going to try to answer with another Enchanter to try to help out this Xin Zhao be a really nice carry for them, like we've seen over in Europe? Or do they try to maybe try to do something a little bit different, where they send Baron lane and they try to give a carry over to Chuck? And you see already they're putting a lot of priority on these marksmen early on.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I mean, with this team, it's going to be a lot of focus on mid and bot lane. They know that they can carry so much pressure there. And, obviously, you've got a lot of influence from the jungler in that, but we've seen a lot more of like these kind of island stalemates in the top side, which I know is really unfortunate because I started the game as a top laner. It was the most boring thing to be like, all right, has the game started yet? I've been up here for 25 minutes and it looks like we're losing hard. What happened? That's kind of been the case here, but it's more of like, all right, you guys know what you're doing up there. Hold the line. Do what you can. We really need to get pressure around this, the mid and the dragon lanes, because that's going to offer dragon priority. And we already know how much of priority Immortals puts onto things like the Rift Herald. But we also saw if they have a successful dragon fight, they're able to get both scuttles. They're able to get multiple objectives based off of that. So heavy focus there on, you've got really solid crowd control. You've got a lot of mobility, obviously, with Xin Zhao, with Corki, as well as, the visibility from Ashe. But it's going to be a Jhin lock-in. And, I love Jhin. I've played well with him on this, but for some reason, in the majority of these majors, I just don't see the Jhin doing much of anything, including even the curtain call, which has a lot of opportunity to get some solid damage down, just doesn't really offer as much as some of the other ADCs.
This just feels like it's just for lane. Like they just want to be able to survive out of lane. Jhin is a kind of an old counter or a classic matchup against Ashe, where they both can operate at a pretty long range. The curtain calls, similar to something like the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, as well as the Deadly Flourish, can act as a really nice substitute for that. So both of them long range AD carries and don't utilize crit in the same way as many other marksmen. So I like this matchup between these two. And what is Immortals' last pick? Because we see the Garen here for Chuck. Chuck so far has been really sitting on a lot of brawlers. You haven't seen too many carries like the Akali. Then again, we don't have that many games on them because they just go 2-0 everybody except enemy. So what is Immortals' answer here? They're going to send the Wukong into the jungle. They're going to have Gragas go up against Garen, which is just brawler versus brawler matchup. And already we're seeing a different side from Immortals than we saw in their first series, right? You now have Araki Zoro on a little bit more of, a less of a carry position like we saw in those first two games. And for Tribe, they still are sticking with what I think is kind of stock standard and kind of true to how they found victory in the first major.
Yeah, there's a lot of disruption that they have available. It's a
Mhm.
lot of engagement as well, but they also have some disengage available. So, um, I am liking I'm liking honestly Xin Zhao and Garen. It's some of the most rude combinations when you have Xin Zhao go up and help Garen, and it's just these blades that are moving way too quickly. Um, but I guess my concern for Immortals is that Jin going to be able to make it through the laning phase, because either you do well in the laning phase or you're a Jin behind moving into team fight stage, and that's not a place that you want to be. As Ashe, you've got a lot more ability to recover, and a lot more utility having the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. I want to see some good curtain calls. I think that's been my biggest disappointment, is just a lot of the curtain calls that I have seen in the first major, and then just coming up into this major, has been really lackluster curtain calls. So maybe that's where a little bit of my disappointment has come through. I like to see the Wukong, but we also got to consider Hoon in the last couple of games was playing the Galio, was playing a much more defensive utility-based champion, now on a heavy carry in Twisted Fate.
Twisted Fate feels, for me, and with no jokes aside, it feels like a fish out of water. Because every one of these members can do a lot, but they're kind of self-sufficient in how they want to be able to play. Jin Nami can stay in lane and do a lot by themselves. Wukong is not one to try to go for early scuffles, but is definitely a strong brawler in that sense. And Gragas, we already talked about it.
Yeah.
It's just a tank matchup. It's just two Chads looking at each other, just like, if one of us makes a mistake, the lane is over. And it's like, yes. Where does TF go? Where does TF Destiny gate to? Is it the Dragon lane? Well, I mean, you're going up against Ashe and Janna. How are you going to dive Max Green and Old School? They have so much ability to just stay under their turret, be incredibly safe. Not much purchase there. Is it to try and help out? I think most of it is going to be, what is the jungle interaction? Because Corki is a notorious lane bully, especially early on, and which is how weak TF can be early in the laning phase. So we're looking at Wukong versus Xin Zhao. You talked about it. We want to see these junglers kind of T-Tigers versus Yikes. And I think TF really activates that for them. Allows them to go for an invades and allows for, hey, maybe if Yikes is in a bad position, suddenly it's a great position with Destiny Gate. That's what I'm looking for.
I'm kind of concerned about the package. Once we get later to that for the Corki,
yes.
That's, awful. If you can, there's a buffer for it as well with the gold card. But honestly, really just being able to layer that over this team, it's certainly going to be tough. I've got an alarm going off. That there's the escapability available. You've got tidal waves to try to push them back. You've got the trickster from Wukong. That self-sustainability, like you were saying. But I think that there's just a lot of aggression on Tribe that is hard to recover from if you're Immortals and you fall behind at the beginning.
Now, is it a aggression problem or is it TF? Because we're gonna start cross-examining some of these lanes. The last game, speaking of early on, Goom and Charm wanting to make an early trade in HP. Same thing with the mid laners here, wanting control over the river, trying to put down vision, deny some for themselves. But some things that were similar from our last series, Jolly. You saw TF. Is it a TF problem? Is it TF does nothing early on? This is what we got to get into.
And into Corki, like you were saying, Alec, who is a lane bully. I mean, from the start, you kind of have to imagine that Yikes, who doesn't want to make a lot of early trades, who wants to get quite a bit of farming in, and at least, parts of an item before really engaging, is going to likely have to. We can actually see the pings coming out right now as TF and Yikes come through, but very well aware is Tribe.
A Charm?
So it's going to be a safe play. The Charm? Charm is alive. It looks like Charm is still very well alive. There is a little bit of damage going back and forth onto Goon there, but A-okay, and Old School is honestly the one more at risk, I would say, in that match. Granted, you've got back screen on this Janna. Now, lots of pressure in the mid.
I see Janna with Ignite, and I see a blinking HP bar on Nami, and I start sweating a little bit.
Yeah.
Janna will just one-shot you with a simple Zephyr and, the Ignite, and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Exhaust probably not going to be able to save you there, but as you saw, Jolly, both of these teams, much like in all of our games, they want the junglers in mid lane so they can have that good, sweet old mid priority. Move for potential scuttles. We're saying they're just going to split the map for right now and try to do a little bit of counter jungling. It is on the Baron laner. We'll see if maybe Chuck tries to check for this. So it would be really devastating for them if they can't find this. Oh.
Award, yep, award placed over the wall, so a bit of recognition right there. Reki Zoro trying to keep Chuck out of tower range right there. Didn't quite make it work out, but at least Yikes didn't get hopped on. In the meantime, though, Immortals, you can see that they're starting to close in, but just barely. Tigers was able to get that recall through.
That is a very good timer for the side of Immortals. I like what they did there, where not only did their bot come to check on their camps, but it was an even trade. And Araki Zoro, really great timing on trying to put the wave under the turrets so that he can go and move over in case Chuck were to try to stop that. Make sure that their jungle, both of these jungles, can try to keep in line, keep in step with each other. As Jolly, we've got about a minute before the Rift Herald and Dragon spawn, and the bot lane hasn't really gotten a reset off for Tribe. They have about 30 to 40 seconds before they can comfortably get back out on the map, but Ashe can provide so much utility with this. Let's see what the action is.
A flash forward from him there. Forced out, and it will be a bubble, just barely catching Janna there. No follow-up from the Boom. Too far back. I was reloading at the time as well. So, hey, looked like a scary position, but it ended up being Tribe actually able to respond to the pressure. Yeah, they stayed underneath their own tower, but Immortals was not able to get really the push that they wanted to have priority on this dragon.
So this is a really tight window for opportunity. If you're on the side of Immortals, you have 10 seconds. You know that Corki has backed or is going to be looking for a back. You want to stop or try to force a fight before this Herald, or before one of these objectives spawn, because they're also going to be looking to pick up potentially the package coming up. So see right now, they're waiting in base. Maybe trying to look for something.
Right there, they find something. It's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow response, the tidal wave coming through. It does not lock down Tigers. That means that it will be a reset.
They're going to keep going for this. They have package.
Trying to come through. The package is available. There's going to be a little bit of an ulti, trying to throw the whirlwind in, forcing Immortals to not put as much damage down onto this Rift Herald as they would like. They actually lose positioning here. Tribe is going to try to take this one over, but Immortals is looking for a re-engage at the time. Tigers
curtain call, good.
Curtain call, what we're looking for it is a blue team Rift Herald right there, and the curtain call does not do what I was looking for in this game. Yikes. The next target as starting ends up going down, but I think they'll take that one for the Rift Herald and no other lives lost.
Massive win there for Immortals. I was worried about their position there because I like what they did. They ended up, yes, they gave over the Rift Herald, but they got a lot for it. Beginning of that fight, we actually ended up seeing that they use the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. And I mean, there's a lot of tools then missing there for Tribe. They have to use the package a little bit early, and they get themselves the Herald. It is a kill, but have to see whether or not the Dragon goes over to Immortals or if we see something a little bit different.
I don't know if we'll see anything.
This is true.
Oh no.
We're
My
back.
casting pose has been revealed. Wasn't aware that we'd be shown on camera. My knee was part of the shot. No. This has already been, I mean, so much closer than the first set of games that we saw here today. And Tribe is, they're trying to get absolutely everything they can, and Immortals is doing a really good job of kind of stalling them out. And in taking what they can. And like you just mentioned there, the Rift Herald did go in favor of Tribe Gaming, but it was still a kill onto Corki. They still managed to at least get something in response for it. I do think we're loading back into the game, so just a quick little stall here, guys. Don't worry, it's not going to be us for much longer.
Immortals still looking good. I'm still waiting to see what Hoon's first use of the Destiny Gate is going to be, because I haven't seen it. I was wondering if they were going to try to use it there to try to reposition, maybe help out on the Baron side of the fight, where you see multiple members starting to try to pincer out on that fight. But the fact that they even got the Rift Herald is a blessing for them, because it could have been a close fight where Immortals get not only the Rift Herald but the kill, then they can move down and pick up the Drake. We're back, and Tribe, they picked up a kill themselves as well as the Drake.
Okay. They did. All right, so I mean, pretty even there. Immortals got a kill, Tribe got the
Drake,
dragon,
yeah. So it's one to one to each in between, and they got the dragon. So
just like Rift Herald
Herald
actually,
still.
but other way
Yeah.
around. Yeah, where Tribe ended up picking it up, but they lost them. Oh, no, the exact same way. So Tribe got both of the objectives on that one, but Immortals managed to find a kill within that. So at least, again, finding some sort of response so that it's not everything going in Tribe's way at all yet.
This is now a weird predicament that I think Immortals find themselves in where, again, like I had noted, Twisted Fate doesn't have a lot of use in this game. I think this could have been another champion, potentially, but we'll see how it kind of pans out for the rest of this. Unless TF gets an awesome flank off in one of these team fights, there's not much to do with this Destiny Gate other than be kind of like a pseudo teleport where, hey, if I got pushed out of lane, no, I didn't. There you go. I'm back into my laning phase. So I want to see what Hoon's effectiveness later on. Maybe we do a little bit of a check-in as the game goes a little bit further. But Tribe, they're sitting clean and pretty right now. They have the Drake already. They have a Mountain Drake, which is really nice, having that shield available to you at all times, as well as, I mean, they get to kind of have first say when it comes to engages. You see right there, they're invading. Yikes is the Fed member here.
Ooh, a nice bubble though. He followed up with the tidal wave. Yikes, trying to get in
Destiny.
as much of a spin there with the Cyclone. Hoon on the backside has to flash over the wall. Destiny is not going
out.
to come through there. Is out. Yep.
And again, Tribe looking on top of the play right there. They try to find it. I mean, Immortals making an aggressive play. Chuck looking for something, but really just trying to protect this.
Ooh, look at that damage, though, that came through, and that's going to be a nice kill. No ultimates on the side of Immortals right now. Only 2 available for Tribe, and one of those is starting. If that one doesn't count that cooldown is very minimal.
Yep. Corky, turns out ultimate very short. Who would have thought? Got 6 charges in the back pocket there, but the fact that they're able to open up the mid lane just means now when you see this resets 30 seconds until the dragon spawn is going to be so important for them to try to continue to pressure the mid lane against Immortals. They get off to a small lead when it comes to the gold, but I mean, right here, we're seeing it time and time again. They are just continuing to push their lead, and I think Immortals may be feeling a little bit antsy. They're going to reset from this Baron lane, and it's going to be on this dragon that is going to dictate the pace of the game for the next few minutes.
And they're not very far behind at all right now, you know? You're looking at less than 2K here, so they're doing all right. You know, Immortals, like I said, has been finding at least responses to not allow Tribe to take everything that they want. They have not been able to find as much success as they anticipate when going into a lot of these fights. You're absolutely right, Alec. This is really going to dictate how things go forward, because if it can be a successful fight for Immortals, they might be able to pick up a lot of pressure because they don't have any towers down right now and barely any damage across all 3 of them at the moment. Baron is up, and that is just going to be a dragon given over to Tribe.
I mean, okay, this might just be their fight. There's the package. Here we go.
Yeah, there's the package, but out comes the curtain call. Not quite able to do the
How much damage?
Yikes gets locked down there on the backside. It's going to be Monsoon as well there, coming out of Max Green. An arrow follows it up. There is the ultimate as well from Chuck. Some Demasi and Justice throw that on top, and you got a nice little recipe for success.
I mean, Tribe, they're just so good. This is why they are our first major victors as they're trying to start up this Baron. Watch for a Rocky Zoro. Maybe Goon can find something on the edge, but this should just be some more kills in their back pocket alongside the Baron.
A little too early to go in right there. It's going to be a Baron.
Oh
it's going to be another pickup. Oh my goodness. Not quite an ace. There you have Hoon who's respawned. You also have Char barely able to stay alive, but almost all summoner spells down, ultimates down as soon as they come up for Immortals. So Tribe is finding more and more success in these fights, and now they've got themselves a Baron buff to use.
That was almost a perfect line of play from Tribe right there. They not only get first onto the Drake, and Immortals kind of feel like they're sitting on their hands a little bit. They don't know whether or not they should engage and end up getting bitten on this one. Moon should be a kill.
Two away, I guess, to get out of that one, but that does not mean that Immortals will find nothing in it. They managed to take down Tigers. A good target, a good response to the top side, but they still lost their tower.
They got a little bit greedy, but Tribe's still in the driver's seat for this one. They're able to bully Immortals across the map everywhere that they go. Feels like Tribe are just one step ahead of Immortals in this game so far. They were first to the Drake, and then they're able to screen them away as they try to look for that fight onto the Baron. And I've loved so far what we've seen from Starting in his use of the package has been influential in each one of these fights that we've seen. for Tribe. So now they're going to be able to take this Baron or this Dragon Lane tier 1. And with all of these tier 1 turrets away, it means slowly, sure but surely, Tribe are going to start to eke away some of these jungle camps from the side of Immortals.
This mobility is really, really helping Tribe as well in these fights. You know, whether it is a package or even just the use of the Valkyrie in general to, you know, obtain positioning, you know, Tigers jumping in on these fights. Again, the disruption has really, really been a big thing that's helping Tribe here. So they're going to look for something else, trying to put pressure on this mid side. They still have these Baron minions. The Curtain Call is going to come out in response. That's going to be another tower destroyed. And the Curtain Call ends up, I mean, I think he canceled it himself right there.
The Curtain Call is the I'm helping award again. It's just like, okay, we're gonna look, guys, I opened up the Curtain Call, please don't take my inhibitor. And Tribe feeling a little bit nicer, like, all right, we got our turret, let's just back off, reset, maybe try to pick up a little bit more camps in the meantime. Right now, Immortals, they are needing of a miracle from the side of Tribe if they want to try and stay in this game. You see right now, the items are even across the board for almost every single one of these members, but it is just slow level advantages starting to creep into most of these matchups. And Wukong has not, we haven't seen a really clear team fight come out from Immortals for a really long time. So still waiting to see what they can do, but they're getting choked out of this one. And especially 30 seconds before that Drake, Jolly, this is huge for them.
I love that little hawk shot of, I know you're right here. I'm not even going to throw it across the map. I'm literally tossing it, I mean, you know, 10 T-Mos from where I'm at because I know that I will spot multiple members out. That's some confidence right there coming from old school and really coming from Tribe in general. As we're looking at 15 seconds now for the Infernal Drake. Not something that Immortal wants to give up, but not something they can easily contest thanks to the amount of pressure that has been put in the mid lane and the Dragon lane here. And now Immortals is actually having to respond to the Baron lane that was pressured a little bit ago by Chuck.
I think this is the correct call. They recognize that most of their members, specifically Hoon, won't be here in time, even with the Destiny. So I think correctly so, they look to try to make onto Baron. What I would have actually liked to see them do, because there's no way they would have gotten this Baron turret in time, is start to set up vision. Try to find some kind of flank ward, something that could either help with a TP or help with Destiny Gate and trying to find some kind of engage onto the backline here. But looks like they're going to lose the Drake, and now the Baron is going to be started. Goom has just taken a reset. Are they just giving this over now? They don't have Destiny, they can't see.
There's way too much damage. There's way too much damage. Oh! There was an attempt there. Max Green might come down here. Yikes will be the first one. No, Yikes has to flash away the Curtain Call. Coming out, Zoro goes down, and now it is a chase as Immortals are trying to escape from this one. Goom going to jump forward there. Chuck is not yet locked down. And still another successful fight from Tribe. A good attempt from Immortals, but they lost two big members.
I mean, at this point, they're completely locked out of this game, right? They're losing Baron. T-Tigers, I think that might be a little bit much right now. Some low HP Mars may help Immortals, but that's the end of the game there. Tribe game one. I don't know what else to say other than Tribe looked good.
Yep. Tribe looked great. I mean,
yes.
Tribe looked good. Immortals looked good. Tribe looked great. Immortals did a great job, like I said, of trying to at least sort of staunch the bleeding in a sense. Not allowing Tribe to take as much as they would have liked on these victorious fights, because Tribe can take so darn much during your gray screen. It's absolutely insane. And Immortals did a really good job of trying to prevent that. They did prevent it for quite a while. It was a very even gold, you know, until it really we saw a sway based on the fights around those objectives towards the mid game. But 15 minutes is all it took on that. Yeah, we can see a little bit of sway in gold all the way up through to, you know, like close to 9 minutes, really before it started to actually spike in favor of Tribe Gaming. So you gotta at least commend Immortals for stalling out the lead and not getting too far behind in terms of gold. We saw it was like 11K, which I know that's weird to say, but in previous games, we've seen Tribe take so much more from the enemy team. And I mean, I think Tribe had finished their first 2-0, their quarterfinal game. You know, it was easily 10 to 15 minute games for them in that first series. So coming into this one, they were held off a little bit by Immortals, but we're going to have to see a little bit of a change from Immortals, a little bit more cohesion like we saw from them in that first matchup in their quarterfinals for them to be able to really counter Tribe's aggression.
What happened? I mean, we're talking about like, oh, Tribe looked really good. But like, you look at the kill score for that game, it's 11 kills in total. It's 7-4, 15 minutes in. There's not that many kills. I mean, the most we're seeing is like 0-3, maybe 0-4 on one member. I'd have to look at it again. That is a real, I mean, that was literally just Tribe playing very clean Wild Rift and leading Immortals. I don't know what happened between these two series, but at least in this game one, Immortals feel like they had no bite. There's no like killer instinct to want to try go in. And maybe that was just a symptom of some of the champions that they drafted. Again, TF is not a traditional
Right.
kind of mage carry where you're pumping out a ton of damage. You gold card, you throw out the wild cards, and that's about it. The big thing is that ultimate, the global ultimate. We didn't see a lot of that. And Jin,
Nope.
same thing.
I
Damage
don't
wasn't
like the
really there
Jin,
to match. They
So I was
didn't do
gonna
much
say,
in
I
lane.
don't, but
They
that's the
didn't
whole
do
thing, though,
anything.
is that's what I found. And like, yeah, going into an Ashe, okay, I don't like the Jin pickup, especially when you're gonna ban out Varus. And then, you know, the expectation is Ashe. I mean, the curtain call. We saw the curtain call come out how many times? Even when it hit almost every shot, it does so little. And with Jin, with the curtain call, you're saying, okay, I'm starting up the fight for our team. You know, you're not in the fight, but you are saying that either, you know, I'm leading the enemy team away, I'm starting up the fight so that our team can initiate, so that I can poke damage and be far in the back line and then resume the fight. But when there's not even enough time to get curtain call off before the
Mhm.
team is on you, it's not a worthwhile ability to have. You know, I'd rather have the preventive measure instead of, like I said, Jin falls behind, really, really hard recovery. Ashe falls behind, much better recovery. You have the hawk shot. You have the ability to kind of go into solo lanes and farm up and recover a bit. With Jin, it's so easy to just catch this guy out. It's so easy to say, all right, this is our primary target as you get into the later game. And it's really hard to keep yourself alive in that sense. So personally, yeah, the TF, but the biggest thing for me, I'm not a big fan of Jin in Wild Rift. Love him on Summoner's Rift. Just I think his efficacy is really worth drafting in Wild Rift at the moment.
We're seeing some new marksmen just in general. The fact that we're even seeing Ashe, a ton of Ashe today, as well as Jin, just means that we're looking to try and be as utility as possible. We're not here to smash laning phase. That has been one of the big things when talking with some of the players about, hey, why are we even seeing Thresh? Because Thresh was supposed to be the next coming. When I was playing with Sam, we're duo queuing and everything. He's like, Thresh is the next coming of Jesus over here. He's like, this champion is disgusting. I should be able to 1v9 games. But bot lane so far, from what we've seen from the Dragon lane, has been all about who is a lane bully. We're seeing Janna and Nami start to be really big picks. And who can control the lane and provide a lot of utility. That's why Ashe, Jin does the same thing. I think self-sufficient AD carries like that alongside the Xayah have been really, really strong. So really I'm just impressed of what we're seeing in terms of the meta adaptation coming out from both of the qualifiers and the first circuit.
Exactly. And I just wrote down, just so I can keep it in front of me, for the Dragon lane, we have had five different ADCs, and we have had 5 different supports. We've only covered 3 games. And so to consider that, you know, that's 6. That's only 1 game of like a duplicate. And it's, you know, been the Janna, and then it's been the Ashe. Aside from that, you've got Xayah, Kai'Sa, Vayne, Jin, and Ashe all selected. And then Janna, Nami, Senna, Rakan, and Lulu. And I gotta say, really, the members that are showing up heavily today are these supports using that utility. So that's where I'm like, all right, if utility-based supports are in, don't pick a utility-based ADC. Like, pick, you know, or if it is utility-based, offer maybe some crowd control, something other than you know, just trying to set the rest of your team up for something. You know, that's why I think like the Ashe is so darn good right now. I would love to see the Jinx come out again. Super Mega Death Rockets have been really, really huge in this. The Kai'Sa also, just being able to have the Void Seeker and follow up on some of these plays. You know, somebody like you were talking about with some of the initiators, she's a great one to follow through. So I just don't like the Jin. I haven't seen a successful game yet. On the really with a Jin, where Jin actually did more than just kind of doing the basic job of a Jin, which is just kind of poking out damage when you can, throwing out a second ability when you can. You know, it just doesn't quite fit any of these compositions as well as I think a lot of the other ADCs tend to find cohesion.
You know what would work though? if Jin would work if you're DNZO, the player I think on enemy, the marksman for the dragon lane. I already got into a discussion with him about playing Jin. He's been playing
Yeah.
it in solo queue and has found a lot of success with a certain build that
All right.
I don't know if it works just because there's some weird interactions here on Wild Rift. I'm trying to stack slows, but he's found a little bit of success. Maybe later on today when we see enemy
Yeah.
take on some of their future opponents, maybe that will be the case. But for right now, I mean, we're 1-0 and we're in the similar position we were in the last series, Jolly, where game one, pretty one-sided, all things considered here for one of
Yep.
the teams, and this time it being Tribe. Immortals, I want to see something. Give me something, because we saw you guys in the first series. We saw that you guys were bloodthirsty, trying to push the tempo of the game. But now in this one, they kind of got choked out. They had to tap out at the end of the game, and they weren't able to do much. There wasn't much of that proactivity that we'd been praising them for.
And I think part of that too has to do with both of the problems that we had. I guess the Jin and the TF just weren't as cohesive and weren't as similar to the compositions that they ran, that they found a lot of success in that earlier matchup that we saw. And so I would like to see, the Gragas, Wukong, Nami, sure, but I would like to see Hoon again on the Galio. I would like to see, more. I would like to see just a different ADC. Not gonna lie. And with the bans that, we had they're very standard bans. The fact that Rakan is banned away from Charm, that's huge. That's like a free potential ban that can be taken away. So you got to anticipate that there are a lot of different options here that Immortals has going through, recognizing, all right, Charm, they're afraid of Charm. So if we can get some really good pressure towards the bottom side, pick up somebody that's got more damage, a little bit, more of a team fight position, really. It has been switched. Something that would help. I was wondering, because Immortals, it just a moment ago, it showed Tribe on the left-hand side. I was like, all right, that's surprising. Immortals sticking with the red, but no, they are swapping over to the blue side, so they will have first pick available here. I'm curious to see what they prioritize, because in the last matchup, it was, as I pull out my notes, Camille was very, very high on their list, which was absolutely fantastic. So it'd be great to see something like that again. But the Galio, Olaf, really there are so many things that they pulled out in the previous games that were spectacular and offered them many, many win conditions. And that last composition, I just didn't feel it.
Obviously, so did Immortals. Immortals were like, cool, that's a great comp. I'll take the free win any day of the week, boys. We take those. But we'll see what their adaptation, especially now on blue side. We saw Immortals have been able to play both sides of the matchup. So interested to see what this means. And the Malphite ban for Tribe, I'm glad that they're getting rid of it, just because we've already seen Araki Zero now kind of fall back to these bruisers, falling back onto these tanks. Where is the carry play for Hoon? Because he has been one of the best players on their team, if not the best, when we're looking at their performance leading up to the major. So when does that start to kick in for Immortals? Yeah. Is that now, when you're kind of wanting to protect your lead in the early game and protect your just tournament lives in the major? Or are you maybe still waiting to try to fit in a couple of their pieces? Because remember, this is a new roster for them. You have Yikes in the jungle now and Charm in support. So they've already changed it up a little bit, Jolly. They got rid of the Gragas. They got rid of also the Corki. So
I think they're gonna lock in the Senna unless it's banned out here.
Yeah, they have to.
Especially hovering the supports that they did in that previous one. We know how well Senna does. So Tribe has to kind of make the decision here. Do we want to ban that out? Do we want to ban it with the Ziggs? There's still a lot of high priority picks. It's going to be the Ashe, actually. So a Varus lock-in, also very, very high priority. That's going to give the Senna and Ziggs potentially over to Tribe if this is a lock-in for Varus, or they can prioritize something else if this really doesn't match their composition.
And I like this adaptation. I think Tribe want to try and test Immortals' hand, and since they're already 1-0 in the series, this is a really important one to have. With Varus and Senna being given over, obviously I think Immortals, like we see here, they just prioritize the Varus that much more. Ziggs made it through. And if Tribe end up winning this game by not getting rid of Ziggs, this, I think, is a huge tell for some other teams, saying, hey, Immortals don't play Ziggs when it's open. And I wonder if Tribe will try to bait that in with a few more picks, maybe pick a few more marksmen to try and get that away from them. But already with this Camille, a super strong opener here for Tribe.
Strong opener, and hopefully, based on the fact that Immortals was running, side lane compositions, or at least
Mhm.
running one player, Chuck a lot of the times being that side laner, or sorry, Iraqi Zoro being that side laner. Hopefully, Immortals recognizes that, all right, we need a response to that. We do need to be able to cut that side laner off. So we need some mobility. We need some lockdown to prevent Camille from getting really far ahead, because they've already got a nice amount of crowd control for Tribe Gaming. They are going to lock in the Nami. Glad they didn't ban that one out, because that would have been, the swap. If they didn't want to go with the Senna, if they pick something else, and then they're likely going to want to go with the Nami. So they at least got that nice matchup, and that's a very, very strong Dragon lane.
It's just so dominant, right? Like Nami's a lane bully, Varus can be a lane bully. Now Immortals, they need a little bit more crowd control, because I think from Tribe you can get very, very kind of fancy with what you could do in the Dragon lane if you don't pick a lot of engage. And so with Galio, I think this kind of locks out the potential for a Nasus. I was looking for Nasus in the Dragon lane. We've seen a lot of Senna Nasus just worldwide being very, very difficult to deal with. Hasn't found a lot of success here in the Summoner series, but has looked really interesting all the while. And getting rid of that Galio, you just want to take away the combo. No more Camille Galio. We're getting rid of that.
And Hoon played the Galio. I literally just said it in the last one. You're gonna see the Nasus hover, so we might have it come through.
Gotta wait till it's locked in.
Gotta wait till it's locked, and it is locked. All right, so you know what? Hey, they say you've got a really strong lane in Varus and Nami. All right, we got the Senna. You know what? Let's do it. I do really like the Galio, though. Hoon played the Galio in the first two matches earlier, and it wasn't the normal carry style that we see on Hoon, but he helped this team so much in really just responding constantly, that hero's entrance being utilized there. It is going to be an Olaf lock-in, though, so Tribe's composition very similar to Immortals' previous compositions as well, and I'm already liking this a lot better from Immortals. I'm already liking the initiation and the engage. They've got some crowd control. Yes, it is situational, the change of corruption, the bubble, but you've also got, like, the tidal wave, and you've also got the charm. And hey, all right, I like this. You've also got a potential Cataclysm. If this Jarvan is going to be locked in, a good response to the Olaf to try to prevent him from getting out. Yes, you can Ragnarok, but you can't Ragnarok through a wall.
Exactly. This has been the counter, and I just think a Tribe, what are we doing? This may be an experiment game. I'll have to talk with some of the boys afterwards on this one, but like, you want to pick Nasus into low engage compositions, and Immortals, they are lacking a little bit. Varus can be long range, but Nasus can build AP and go a little bit more tanky and try to resist some of this engage. And with a lot of melee champions, Nasus tends to thrive. This is going to be a huge denominator into whether or not Tribe are able to win this game. They have winning bot lane for Immortals. You have a good matchup in mid lane, depending on what Tribe is going to pick here for starting. And the top matchup is a skill matchup that I think Jarvan is going to want to enter alongside Olaf. So we're looking at a ton of matchups that I think Immortals are going to be very comfortable in to try to win. And Tribe playing some things that are maybe not orthodox and playing some things that are maybe not the best right now, as they pick up starting's Lucian, which he had a ton of success on last major, but has really kind of fallen up to the wayside when it comes to the mid lane pool.
Yeah, and, going into a Galio, yeah, it's nice to be able to, use the passive, get those pops off. But again, you gotta expect that these junglers are going to be trying to support this mid lane very, very early on. So that puts Lucian in a really, really risky situation where if Olaf's not able to get there before you have, a taunt come through from Galio, before you have Jarvan try to come in and flag and drag and get a little bit of a pop, that's a very, very juicy target that Immortals has an opportunity to move in on.
Okay, so the bad thing for a Tribe is plated steel caps. I know Smax isn't here, but full AD. Okay, maybe not full AD. You have two things that are really cool. Nasus is probably going full AP,
right?
So we'll just be building out the Fimbulwinter and the Liandry's, and can reduce armor with the Spirit Fire, which is kind of nice for their team. But for the most part, it's not like massive amounts of AP damage that you can spread very easily to a lot of different champions. So Immortals, the plated steel caps, Sam's the biggest salesman of, that is really good. you have a mid jungle 2v2, which is a little bit the same on damage. You have two junglers, two jungle and a mid that is going to be, again, AD focused. So physical damage is going to be very over prioritized here for Tribe Gaming. Whereas on Immortals, there's a nice mix. You have good complements on either side. This Akali going into the Dragon lane is the biggest question mark for me. Because now, if Galio has a good laning phase in the mid lane, that Akali's just going to move over.
Dragon
and Camille's
lane?
going to have the... Yeah, Camille's
Akali
going
in
to
the
not
Baron
have a lane.
lane?
The Baron lane. Yeah.
Okay, I was like...
Not,
I thought you said Akali in the
Galio's
Dragon
just going
lane,
to run
right?
up there.
Yeah. Okay,
Sorry.
I was like, hold on a second. I don't think that's the case.
My bad.
No, you're good. I'm just making sure that you know, I've got my lingo
Akali,
down.
you know, if they set Akali down there, then there's bigger problems here.
Yeah, there is absolutely, you know, and we already also saw Arakizoro on the Akali. That was something that before we had touched on. The Akali was locked in before the Galio. That the Galio was locked in. We're like, all right, okay, so Hoon is not going to be playing this heavy carry, but my goodness, the amount that this player was able to offer the team as this utility-based mid laner is huge, and the survivability is probably the biggest part that I really appreciate for mid lane early game in Wild Rift. It's very, very helpful. But we are getting into game number 2. Swap sides for Immortals on the blue now and Tribe Gaming on the red side. They are at match point right now and already putting a lot of pressure here in the mid.
And big things coming into this game, right, when we're looking at it. Again, they're trying to set up on this bot wave because they know that Nasus in the early game is a little bit of a weak dog. He's a little bit of a sad puppy early on, but winner of this will go on to the winners finals, which means that they are guaranteed at minimum 3rd place in here in the major. Obviously, top 2 are going to have auto qualify immediately into the North American regional championships, which just means you get to potentially book your ticket to Worlds. We only have 1 seat here in North America, so that's going to be huge. And loser of this, I mean, they're going into losers round, which will show tomorrow, but very important here for Immortals and for Tribe if they want to keep up their dominant streak against this kind of revitalized team.
Yeah, it certainly has felt like a revitalized team. Not just with the addition of Charm, but the improvement of the team overall. Really, even just since the first major, to see them do this well is incredible. That's going to be a nice piercing arrow. But Tiger's not quite able to get there in time. Is going to be able to get the Scuttle.
We're fighting,
actually
boys.
Immortals on the Scuttle. 4 members. The Dawning Shadow is going to land a flash, forced out. Tigers might be the first one to go down, but no, it's a first blood onto Hoon. And it will be Max Green who picks out one of Boom. Has to use the heal. What a beautiful heal, but the Root is going to land a nice heal in response there from Charm. He's the last 3 members here down at the bottom will survive from Immortals.
Honey Fruit Gap. That's literally all that saves Immortals early game right there. It could be so much worse, but the fact that now they get they don't even get double Scuttle. Immortals, they were able to get the first one. That's right. They had the first play onto that side of the map. It's huge for them, but they are still down in gold after that first blood, and they lost a lot. They had to pull so many different members from all of their lanes to try and fight for this. I like the early aggression coming out from Tribe, recognizing that they have a lot of great tools for them, but not able to kind of connect that kill. If they're able to find that onto Goom, this game is looking really, really dominant for them. They have about a minute and a half before the objectives start to spawn, and we'll have to see what comes of it, because I mean, early advantage to Tribe. T-Tigers is off to a really nice advantage, but you're playing, eventually you're going to get level 5 on Jarvan, and you can just lock up this Olaf.
Yep, that is the idea. Again, you can Ragnarok through crowd control, but you can't Ragnarok through a wall. Looks like Tigers is going to look for something. Boom and Charm very, very low. A piercing arrow, the bubble's not going to hit, and Tigers making his way, going to stall.
They're going to get level 5 soon.
Immortals coming.
Here it is.
Here comes the hero's entrance on the way. It will be Goom who goes down first. Nice response there.
Wait,
and Tigers gets locked in with the Cataclysm. But he ends up going down there. So Charm and Goom being lost on Immortals, and just T-Tigers for Tribe.
Varus doesn't always have the easiest time of being able to manipulate the wave with just how single target a lot of his kit can be. But we see right there some of the strengths of this Senna Nasus lane. They are just so mean. They're just so annoying to deal with in this Dragon lane, where they drop the Spirit Fire, it pushes the wave, and Senna from a very safe distance can just kind of poke away, heal up on this Nasus. The sustain in here is going to be so dangerous. We see now with Tribe taking a reset, I have to think that this is going to have to be them going for the Rift Herald, especially now with their Dragon Lane recalling. Should just be a trade of objectives across the map. Immortals getting themselves the first Drake, and Tribe trying to set up for this Rift Herald.
Picking up the scuttle right away there for Yikes. Max Green obviously spotted out thanks to that scuttle crab. Gonna throw a ward down on top of it though, just to keep vision here on this dragon. Probably gonna try to go in for some sneaky plays as the rest of Tribe comes down, at least starting and old school now involved in the fight.
My
There's
God.
Two Tigers. They pull
just
it
got this.
away. They pull this away. Immortals starts it out. And once again, in comes Tribe saying, thanks for the leash. We'll take that.
I mean, that was just that's just really good timing and patience coming out from Tribe. This is going to be their Rift Herald now for Immortals. You see right now, they're just going to completely focus onto this. They can say, look, take the Rift Herald. That is a short-term investment for what we want, where we're putting so much damage onto this Dragon Lane. They're going to take another plate. We see right now, they want to maybe try to open up this Baron lane to get their bot lane ahead. Sending up the Rift Herald, the first turret going over to Tribe as a trade is initiated, but really just great play coming out from Tribe, and Immortals trying to find responses where they can.
They do. One tower. Not too far of a gold lead for Tribe here at almost 5.5 minutes into this game, but taking a look at the vision as well across the board, I mean, Tribe's vision has stayed up a lot longer. Immortals has the two sweepers right now. Tribe, the only one at the moment actually is on Tigers right there, but they're still able to, I mean, really just prevent Immortals from laying down vision. They have to invest their gold in more items because they cannot allow themselves to get far behind here. So a good response from Immortals to at least even up those towers. Yes, you lose the one, you lose the dragon, but hey, you pick up the Rift Herald, might as well immediately drop it where you know you can get some pressure.
They need to get something on the return there because they just got so much gold without a Rift Herald on Tribe that it is more of just a, hey, let's just try to even up the gold as much as we possibly can. And I love what they did there when they were going for the dragon, where they don't have eyes on Olaf, and so Max Green, or sorry, Old School, on the Senna used an excellent use of the third ability on Senna to try and pull multiple members, but not showing who exactly is in that pool of invisibility. So they kind of just scare them off. Olaf was nowhere near the pit. He was in the middle of the jungle trying to get to this objective. And Immortals, they have to peel off, they lose out on the objective, and now we're in this position where they're trying to take control of mid lane with both of the Dragon Lane duos. But at any moment, they're taking control from here to try to move out and spread their influence onto multiple other lanes.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't credit Senna for. They're like, oh yeah, you know, she's got the last embrace, yeah, she's got a dawning shadow, but seriously, the Curse of Black Mist is huge, getting your team into position and adding just to the mobility overall for the team. So very, very helpful, especially when you've got a little bit of mobility in the Nasus. So that's going to be the Ragnarok Dawning Shadow on top. The Hextech Ultimatum did come out, but it's going to be Two Tigers who picks up that kill.
I like this. They're trying to make a trade, trying to force something out, gets both of the summoner spells out from Hoon, and now it calls for multiple members of Immortals to try and cover this. Right now, it is only going to be Yikes under this turret, but, I mean, okay, I guess they get the flash out from Chuck, which is pretty important. Starting.
There is a nice little tidal wave, but it looks like Starting's just going to be able to walk away from that one. Too much of a show, the rest of his team. So quite a few resources burned there by Immortals. They weren't able to find anything.
They got a little bit of turret, some chip damage onto this Baron lane turret. It's just an interest to me as to the summoners that are no longer going to be available for this dragon that's spawning in 30 seconds. Are Immortals going to be the ones to prioritize it? They have a summoner spell advantage not only in the mid lane, but also in the right now in the Baron lane. So without Chuck having flash, are they going to go for this? They're constantly sending Hoon into the Baron lane, and I don't know if I like this, just because you want Galio to be in range of the hero's entrance, more likely to be in that dragon lane. So far, we'll see how they enter into the pit here as Tribe entering into the bot side jungle, wanting to invade onto Yikes. Maybe getting a little too cheeky with it.
That's all right. It was all honestly a lot of pressure too, just to say, okay, how many members of Immortals are over here looking to maybe go in on this dragon?
They're
And
fighting
it's
it.
going to be everybody right there. Chains of Corruption comes through. Dawning Shadow on top of it. Out is the Hextech Ultimatum as well. Onto the backside by Iraqi Zoro. Chuck and starting, trying to take down Hoon. That's going to be a nice little heal, though, from the Nami to keep Hoon alive. And a piercing arrow in response to at least deal some damage here. They might not have lost a member yet. Oh my goodness, that Rune is going to come out. Yikes.
They still get
that
this,
was
though.
Very, very
What?
close. But I mean, not losing a single member for Immortals. T-Tiger's the only one to go down. But yeah, Tribe still in position, and there was enough damage dealt to every member of Immortals. They're able to keep this one up, no problem.
They get their cake and eat it too. They try to start up a fight, but some of the members don't have enough damage, right? If we could pull up the items really quick, observers. I mean, Nasus has no damage right now. You're maxing the Spirit Fire first, but I mean, with the Winter's Approach or now the Thimble Winter, there's not much in terms of damage, and you're really relying a lot on this Olaf and the Lucian to do a lot. But early on, I think they were maybe overestimating their lead right there when they were going for that trade. They're going to lose another turret here. Very important for Immortals whenever they lose something that they're grabbing something else on the other side of the map. So now with 2 turrets in their back pocket, I wonder what this means as we go further into this game, because they're going to continue. They're going to look for a fight here.
They are. They're going to find one. Out comes the Ragnarok. That's going to be a Cataclysm on top of the Tidal Wave. First enemy to go down will be Max Green. That means the Tribe has to run away from this one. There is a split going on. We can see in the top side, it's Chuck. That's going to be it.
Chuck. I just like saying his name. It's a good name. Tries to just grab this turret before. He's going to have to leave after this. Knows that not much doing here, but Lucian, we were talking about this. Maybe, is this a solo kill?
No, not if
It's a
Tiger's
jungle
suspicious.
kill.
Right, and then the rest of the team comes through, so they're going to end it at that. Just a little bit of playful back and forth.
Baron laners just wanting to kind of headbutt each other a little bit there.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, this is my lane now. I just wanted to note, we had noted, hey, what is starting going to do in this game, especially against Hoon? Rocky Zoro on this Akali just makes it so difficult for Lucian to really side lane, because at any moment, I mean, you could be as far ahead as you want, but you look at a Rocky Zoro right now in the itemization, has so much magic penetration as well as the death cap first. This Lucian cannot survive in a side lane, and I don't know who really can. They try to find a fight here.
We flash forward, the Ragnarok coming out
Good
right there, and
kill.
it's going to be a Dawning Shadow that finds a kill right there for Old School.
Jolly, that is that right there is the I got betrayed by my jungler, because
Yeah.
the Cataclysm came down and Nami got stuck in there, and they're like, oh god, get me out, turn it off. But they're starting up the Baron here. It takes one engage. Remember, they have a Kali who can jump in, and you can have the Galio to follow up while she's in Shroud.
The pulling, doing as much as possible. In comes the hero's entrance as well. Yikes ends up getting Hextech Ultimatum too, and Hoon has to force a flash out of T-Tigers to get away. A flash as well from Old School to escape
Good
that
kill.
fight, and no way. Yikes barely on the flash, and then immediately dying. Hoon stays alive, gets under tower, but a lot of resources utilized, and Tribe still has 4 members here to fight this Baron.
The fights are just going way too fast for someone like Goom to really get their damage off as is Varus. It's going to be the Baron going over to Tribe, and they have a really comfortable lead for themselves. They're not able to break open this mid lane turret on the side of Immortals. We have a Dragon coming up in a minute, and a Mountain Drake would do so many wonders for Immortals to try and stay in this game. Not only just grabbing the Dragon and stopping a potential stack, but I mean, just having that free shield can at least assuage some of the early damage that we're seeing coming out from Tribe. But the fact that they're able to find that kill onto Yikes and onto Charm before it starts, it's looking rough now for Immortals.
Kind of doomed from the start situation.
Oh, no.
It's going to go in. The culling comes out. It was already a dash used by starting, though. So it's just Max Green, Old School, looking to try to take down this tower so they can resume pressure in the mid side. Max Green jumping past it. Immortals recognizing, yeah, we got to be safe. We have lost the big tower. They are moving in on the second one. In the meantime, down in the Dragon Lane, you've got Chuck doing that split pushing thing.
They're
he likes to
fighting.
do.
This is
the
a
Ragnarok
game.
comes out. A kill right there. Going to be an exhaust onto Galio on the backside. Yikes, taking a lot of damage here. The dash away by starting because Zoro is on the backside there right now. Chuck going in. Hextech Ultimatum underneath the tower. Hero's entrance to stop Yikes, or to try to get over to Yikes. A little bit of survivability there, but that is still all 5 members of Tribe Gaming up and alive, and they are on the Nexus. Who trying to go in for a last chance dive, but it's not going to come out, and Tribe find themselves a 2-0 sweep and a lock-in to at least 3rd place in this major.
Tribe looked good. I didn't think, Tribe looked great. We gotta do the same thing that we did on the last game there. I mean, that was just excellently played, and we saw that try as they might, Immortals could not stand up to the power of Tribe Gaming. I mean, you saw right there, Araki Zoro's trying to split push the entire time, trying to sit in the Baron lane, trying to push, and the entire time that is happening, Tribe are taking all of their turrets, they're wiping the entire Wild Rift from Immortals. They just couldn't kind of just find all of the pieces. A little bit more kills, like 3 more here in favor of Tribe than the last game. But they recognize we don't really need to fight. We can just lead them across the map. We saw excellent kind of map play coming out from them, and a little bit bloodier this time, but Tribe still look unstoppable.
Oh yeah, and that's something that I was talking about, before this game even started, is and really in between these 2 games, because I was commending Immortals for preventing Tribe from running away with these successful fights. They were just, taking a little bit, because Tribe, of all the teams, if they find a big fight, a big win, they're going to take absolutely everything. They have such good communication. They're going to split off and find the best possible, interaction to make off of a successful fight. Immortals did a great job of, all right, they won this fight. Let's take what we can. We lost the dragon here. We lost the fight there, but we still have 4 members up and alive. Let's go over and take the Baron of the Rift Herald. So there was still a lot of really solid fight coming through from Immortals, but my goodness, it's really hard to try to go up into really just the abilities from Tribe, the individuals to be able to play this game as well as they do. It's kind of insane.
I think you really hit the nail on the head there, Jolly. It really felt like Immortals was trying to mitigate the just absolute dominance that we saw from Tribe kind of all across the map. It felt like everywhere they went, they were pressuring objectives, pulling people away. And so while in that first game, there wasn't necessarily a high kill count, we saw big gold lead and obviously a big lead in the objectives. Second game got a little bloody at the end, but up until that point, also low kill count, but big gold lead, big objective lead. And so I think that you have perfectly summarized exactly how that match went. But we know that Tribe is now moving on to the winners final, which is great for them. They're 1 win away from securing a spot in the major as well. Excuse me, not the major, the regional championship and the finals of the major. And we know that we've got another great semifinal coming up as well. We're still going to be seeing Cloud9 taking on NME in just a little bit as well, and I'm really looking forward to that matchup, because NME I thought was going to go with a nice clean sweep 2-0, and they might have had a rusty start.
Yeah, they were the only one in the first. Well, they were, comparatively, they were the only team in those quarterfinals to not just get to not have a sweep. So, maybe they started off a little bit rocky, but yeah, you got to consider going into this one. I was stoked about the last matchup. This one is going to be even closer, though, because you do have Cloud9, who has been a fan favorite for a long time. Like I said, Tarzan, an insane player, the best when things started out. But Enemy, just like Immortals, the improvement that we've seen coming through from this team is exceptional.
I was going to say, while Enemy should have looked to try to clean sweep this, I don't want to take anything away from Brawl Star Pros.
Yeah.
Those guys, in the qualifiers, Hitman was solo killing almost every other Baron laner, and across the board, Molly's even subbed for Cloud9 and helped them out in some of their major wins in the last circuit. So I don't want to take anything away. I think Brawl Stars are actually a really good team, and to see that they actually took a game away, I think still, I wonder what that means for the lower bracket, right? Because now they're going to have to go up against Sentinels and Enemy, who are going up against Cloud9. These are 2 teams that I think have very different trajectories. Talking about Cloud9, they seem, at least word on the street was, they've been overperforming a little bit. An Enemy who got all the way to the finals and fell to the side of Tribe Gaming, I'm sure that they've been looking really, really good, at least in scrims. So Enemy, I'm excited to see this matchup between these 2. This is a really awesome one, and one I think will kind of dictate the path for who's really going to be in that 2nd to 3rd place matchup.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that lower bracket. We're going to be taking a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be seeing Enemy taking on Cloud9. We're also going to take a look at where the bracket stands, including that lower bracket, because again, it is a double elimination event. But For now, short break. When we come back, more Wild Rift action on the way. And again, we're going to be seeing NME take on Cloud9.